Moral Money Podcast, Episode 3, Compounding Interest and the True Cost of Homeownership. Today on Moral Money, we're taking a closer look at two of the biggest financial forces in life, the power of compounding interest and the real economics of homeownership. These might sound like dry topics, but stick with me because what we're about to uncover is not only shocking, it's life-changing. Let's start with a story about compounding interest. Picture this. You're 16 years old, you're starting to make some money, maybe mowing lawns or working a part-time job. But instead of blowing it on clothes or gadgets, you make a different choice. You decide to save $10,000 a year and invest it in something that earns a steady 10% return. And you do this for 10 years until you're 26. Then you stop. You don't put another dollar into that investment, you just let it grow. Now, meet your friend who starts at 26. He's playing catch up and starts saving $10,000 a year, just like you. But unlike you, he keeps saving and investing every year until he's 65. That's 40 years of saving compared to your 10. You might think, well, your friend must have way more money by the time they're both 65, right? Wrong. Even though your friend invested 4 times longer, you still end up with more money. Why? Because compounding interest is the closest thing to financial magic. The earlier you start, the more time your money has to work for you. And when it's working at 10% a year, it's like planting seeds that just keep multiplying, growing more and more every year. It's one of the most powerful forces in finance. Now let's pivot to the other side of the coin, the real cost of homeownership. Imagine this. You've decided to build a house. You've got hard costs, $50,000 for land, $50,000 for labor, and another $100,000 for materials. That's $200,000 to build your house. But here's where it starts getting interesting. You're not just paying for the materials, labor, and land. There are taxes, fees, permits, and of course, if you're not paying cash, you're getting a loan, a mortgage. And that mortgage over time adds up in a way that can blow your mind. Let's take that $200,000 house. With all the soft costs, taxes, interest, fees, you're looking at a retail price of around $500,000 for the same home. But by the time you've paid it off over 40 years, thanks to interest, you'll have forked out closer to $1 million. And here's the kicker. If you're earning a salary to pay down that mortgage, you're also paying taxes on that income. So by the time you add in income tax, mortgage interest, and all the profits going to middlemen, you're well into the $2 million range. Think about that. For a house that originally cost $200,000, you've now spent 10 times that amount when all's said and done. That's the mortgage trap. It's not just a little more than you expect. It's a system designed to squeeze as much as possible out of every buyer. Now let's take this even further. What if instead of locking yourself into a mortgage for 40 years, you flip the script? Imagine this. Instead of going down that route of paying off $2 million over 40 years, you hustle hard to save up and pay for just the hard costs of that house: land, labor, materials. $200,000 up front. You don't stop there. You take that income you would have spent on mortgage payments and invest it instead. And not just invest it, build another house, then another, and another. Now let's fast forward 40 years. Instead of owning one house, you've built and accumulated 15 houses. Your net worth, a cool $30 million. Compare that to the traditional mortgage path. At the end of 40 years, you've got one house maybe worth $2 million with inflation adjusted. Sure, it's a house, but it's aging and it doesn't look so shiny anymore. You've paid off the bank, the government, and the real estate agents, and what do you have left? One property, sitting where it was 40 years ago. But imagine taking that same amount of effort, that same work, and channeling it into something smarter. 15 houses, 30 million in net worth. It's not just possible, it's within reach if we stop playing by the old rules. The moral of the story? Compounding interest, early investing, and rethinking the way we approach big life decisions like homeownership are the key. It's not about getting caught in the trap of loans, taxes, and endless fees. It's about working smarter, leveraging time and money in a way that sets you up for life, not just getting by. In a world where the system feels stacked against you, This isn't just a strategy, it's a revolution. And that's where the collective comes in. Imagine if we didn't just do this as individuals. Imagine if we pooled resources to help more people escape the mortgage trap, to help more people start compounding their investments early. The collective power of pooling time, money, and energy isn't just an abstract idea. It's a real solution to the mess we find ourselves in with the current system. Instead of paying into a broken system for 40 years, we could be building something real, something sustainable, something that sets us and future generations up for success. So that's the story for today. Compounding interest, the real cost of homeownership, and the power of building a collective that works with you, not against you. What's your next move? Do you stick with the old system, or do you start thinking about a better way, one that rewards your hard work and investment over time? In the next episode of Moral Money, we'll dive deeper into how to make this vision a reality and what it takes to break away from the mortgage trap and start building the life and future you deserve. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Moral Money.